Rain beats down on the tent as a throng of the undead gathers outside. A frantic knock on the door pleads for entry. He calls out his name, Zhang Heng. Within, all conceal. 3 men hold the door. Someone wonders what they should do. A blonde girl shouts at them to unlock it. Zhang Heng is a fellow student. They cannot leave him behind. She's the class leader. If something occurs, she'll be accountable. Abandoning him is equivalent to causing his death. One of the men insists he has likely been bitten already. She stands her ground. The man clenches his teeth, looks at Yubei and states he will unlock the door. Yubei must close at the seconds. Zhang enters and begins counting before Yubei has a chance. Response. Tension rises. 3. He turns the knob, and Yubei is pushed by the man next to him who has already turned. The space explodes. The main character yells that Yubei's infected. The blonde attempts to flee. Shouts erupt from the crowd. The protagonist raises his arm to shield against a bite. Teeth pierce him. Agony surges within. Memories overwhelm his thoughts. On that day, he lost his arm. The creatures invaded. The city collapsed. The world perished. A man in a hood questions his certainty. A physician observes. Only 2 options remain now. They push the button. He's returned. Just before the door swings open. Having endured an entire apocalypse with 1 arm, he's gone back to the start. Zhang knocks on the door once more outside. The blonde Ruashi insists they open it. She remains the representative and won't forsake her classmates. Yubei gazes at her. She appears more youthful. She yells at them. Are they unable to hear? If they don't unlock the door, they're dooming him. Yubei senses it sink in. His scheme succeeded. He's returned to alter everything. He shouts to her. What if Zhang has been bitten? How will she cope? She claims no one witnessed the bite. There's no evidence. As the representative, she will assume full responsibility. Yubei grins. All right, she can open the door by herself. Ruashi halts. The other girls gaze at him. She yells that he isn't a true man. Having a woman do it. He retaliates. It's simple to advise when you're not in danger. Ultimately, she is merely a hypocrite. She yells at him to be quiet. Claims she has no fear. Labels them cowards. Urges them to advance. She takes hold of the knob and twists it. The door bursts open. Zhang Han rushes in. Already changed. Chaos erupts once more. The door crashes down to the ground. Ruashi climbs up and discovers the infected Zhang Han just inches from her face. He lunges. Everyone flees. Ruashi seizes the guy next to her, shaking. Then she pushes him ahead, screaming at him to defend her. A foot strikes her ribs forcefully. Yebe. He sends her flying directly at Zhang Han. The zombie seizes her at the waist, teeth clashing near her ear. Person operates a screwdriver into its top. The skull shatters. Blood splatters everywhere. Yebe observes with a slight, icy grin. Ruashi falls outdoors. Still entwined with the body, she gazes at Yebe, pleading for his help. He recalls his former life, how she destroyed. He lifts the drop door. She inquires about his activities. He slams it closed, secures her outside. He then looks at the others. Why didn't you shut the door? In a panic, the group opts to barricade it. They pull furniture, boxes, ladders, anything available, and stack it up high. Ruashi continues to pound outside, insisting on knowing their actions. She pleads for assistance, yelling that she's the class rep and should not be treated this way. Nobody comes forward to assist her. The rest continue to pile up the barricade. Yebe observes quietly. Time moves on. The rain ceases. Eventually, they come to understand they can no longer hear Ruashi. The atmosphere has changed. Yebe instills fear in everyone. He was once the kind person. Why then does he feel like a foreigner now? He looks around. The girls are weeping. The men avert their gaze. Why do you all seem frightened of me? He inquires. They promptly refute it. Instead, the blonde boy expresses his gratitude. Had Yebe not kicked Ruashi, he would have been pushed out of his bait. The atmosphere changes. Individuals begin to claim Ruashi was self-centered, corrupt. She would have betrayed anyone for her own safety. Yebe offers a slight smile. If you all possess such courage, he states, let's unlock the door. I wish to see outside. They waver. Why would he venture out? He shrugs. Perhaps kicking her was excessive. He simply wants to check on her. They object. Zombies are all around. Yebe snaps, commanding them to proceed. Shaken, they cleanse. Remove the barricade and open the door. He walks onto the grass. Morning light floods the field. Ruashi is nowhere to be seen. No Jinghang. No undead. The door closes forcefully behind him. From within, voices cry out that they cannot allow a mad killer to return. He'll slaughter them all. Yebe remains unfazed, strolling steadily through the field. Inside, they murmur about his sanity. Suddenly, the blonde boy freezes. A female zombie blocks Yebe's path. He continues to approach her. She sees him. He grins and strengthens his hold on his tool. Without warning, he lunges. The zombie hardly responds. Before he crushes her skull, he continues relentlessly. He pushes her to her limits. Inside, they now believe he's mad. However, Yebe is panting heavily. That required effort even for him. He kneels beside the body and retrieves an object resembling a small pearl. He grins. Power gem. The origin of the apocalypse. And the secret to enduring it. He hears a footstep behind him. He spins around. An ancient zombie stumbles nearer. Yebe seizes his tool and hurries. Shortly after, it goes down as well. Inside, a girl is on the verge of vomiting. The blonde boy is baffled. This is the same coward he remembers. How did he undergo such a drastic change? Rumors circulate. He must be acting. No one changes so drastically in a single night. One boy proposes allowing him back in. He's powerful. He can take down zombies. Others disagree. He's unstable. He could turn on them next. Suddenly, the glass breaks. Yebe looks inside. You all still in there? He smiles. Come on out. Killing zombies is quite enjoyable. They shake in fear. Suddenly, a scream pierces the air. Something lurks behind him. A zombie charges. Yebe remains calm. He looks back, raises his foot, and strikes it directly in the chest. He takes hold of the tool once more and crushes the zombie's jaw. It falls. Another figure strikes the earth. The group remains still inside, observing. Yebe cleans blood from his face. Silence fills the air. He catches their gaze. No clue if this stuff can infect you, he remarks. I wish to stay with you all, but it's too dangerous. I don't want to cause any harm. He then turns to go, wishing you all the best. They question whether he is truly leaving. He walks across campus solo, ascends the staircase. This is where it began. On the first day, half the populace was infected. Government, economy, society vanished. Beasts proliferate. Terror escalates swiftly. Professor Zanhan named it the Dark Era. In his previous life, he severed his own arm to endure that initial day. 15 years of suffering and starvation ensued until he encountered the mechanic, the man who returned him. Now he strolls steadily through deserted streets. Individuals watch from their concealment. Some believe he's threatening. Others speculate that if he's alone, he could be perilous. He disregards them and walks to a park. Zombies are spread throughout it. Immobile, they remain unresponsive until he faces away. They rush forward. A bystander yells that the child is dead. An elderly man murmurs that searching for food in such a world is madness. Yebe simply grins. A single swing, skull shattered. One more down. A powerful slam concludes the third. The spectators are in disbelief. How did he muster that courage? Behind a curtain, a girl observes as well. I'll take that bastard down eventually, she whispers. Yebe is breathing heavily after 3 kills. Suddenly, he hears wings, birds fleeing. 3 additional zombies approach. Excessive. One approaches him slowly. He flees. The earlier commotion likely attracted a swarm. From a nearby house, someone mocks that the boy is heading directly toward them. Yebe notices a convenience store and bangs on the door. He gazes at the camera. Let me in. I'm being pursued. An elderly man inside deems it absurd. No one would let a stranger child in. Still, the gate begins to lift. A zombie turns the corner and jumps. He breaks its head in flight. An elderly woman stumbles in next. He lets her fall. Also, he plunges beneath the half, opens the gate and enters. The undead crash into the door, but he's secure for the moment. The area is filled with resources, a strong foundation. A small girl observes him from behind a computer desk. Adjacent, within a nightclub, Spank observes through binoculars, claiming the kid's destroying everything. The Mohawk guy informs Brother Centipede that a student has just taken down 6 zombies solo. Brother Centipede chuckles. Women surrounded him. They seemed more fragile than I anticipated. If a student can manage it, we won't face any issues. Inside the shop, Yebe grins. He gazes at the counter. Show yourself. I know you're there. Just give me the key so I can secure the place. Silence fills the air. He exhales, grimaces, and holds his arm. My injury's severe. I may not survive. A girl emerges from it. From behind the counter, she throws him some medicine. He seizes her wrist. For heaven's sake, don't make this a romance. She resembles someone's child. Yebe asks her to give him the remote, assuring her he won't take any action. She inquires, "What remote?" Although it's obviously in her grasp. He moves ahead and grabs it. She dashes, taking cover behind the counter, her gaze fixed on him. He kicks a shelf, causing her to flinch. Calls her foolish for thinking he was hurt. Time flows. Rain begins to fall outside. He rests on the bed, exhausted. The young girl gently cares for his severed arm. The agony is intense, yet he perseveres. Eventually, she states that she is finished. He expresses gratitude for her help. She shuts the first aid kit and mentions the outside is too perilous. Her father instructed her to remain in the store. He can recuperate here and she'll fetch food later. She departs. He believes she is excessively kind. Among all the doors he knocked on, she was the sole one to welcome him. Without her, he wouldn't survive. Suddenly, he hears her voice at the entrance, questioning what a few men are doing. This startles him awake. A crowd gathers outside the shop. Centipede expresses gratitude to her for letting his friends in. Anxious, she inquires if they only want food. He smiles. Indeed, now everything here is his. She claims her father will return shortly. They chuckle. Her father has already served as zombie bait. With her solitude, they can enjoy a game. Indeed, Bay lurks in the darkness, hearing them end her life. They steal the provisions, discard her remains, and label her a fool. That was his former existence. This time, he won't allow it to occur. She must first grasp the harshness of this world, even if it leads her to despise him. She taps on his door. He quickly reacts, questioning why she is disturbing him. She expresses regret. She cleaned his dirty clothes. He becomes more furious at her kindness, instructs her to discard them and depart. Ashamed, she consents. He muses that with a personality like hers, she won't last long. Nevertheless, the warm shower is amazing. In the future, water will be polluted. Instances like this will vanish. He completes his bath. The shop currently offers ample food and clean water. The next priority is gear and weapons. He gazes at his reflection. Feeling youthful once more is incredible. No leg burning, no back pain. Youth is a blessing. The only downside is his abs vanished. He unlocks the door and discovers she has left a suit for him. He yells, questioning how he can battle zombies in that outfit. In the club, Centipede assembles his team. The convenience store offers food and liquor, but it won't endure. The strategy is straightforward. Eliminate the zombies outside, then gather everything. Inside, there's an adorable little girl. Simple task. He commands his crew to begin the killings to facilitate the robbery. Zombies relentlessly batter the entrance outside the store. Within, Yibi summons the girl. Quit being naive. I have something to ask you. Why is she by herself? Where's her family? She claims her father left to collect supplies and hasn't come back. Yibi hits the table. Are you out of your mind? Allowing a stranger inside like that? What if I intended to harm you? How would you defend yourself? Frightened. She claims he was injured and drenched in blood. She couldn't simply let him perish. He yells again. Didn't she notice the monsters pursuing him? With a character like hers, she would merely hinder him. It would be simpler to eliminate her and lift the weight. Yet solitude is dull. From this point forward, she obeys his commands. Every word, or he will eliminate her immediately. The nightclub team approaches the zombies, or more accurately, the zombies advance towards them. They begin with confidence. The initial man is ripped to shreds. Assurance fades away. They question whether these beings differ from those the student eliminated. Centipede growls, urging them to attack, or he will end them himself. A man runs away, exclaiming that being killed by zombies is preferable to a centipede's bite. Centipede seizes him by the hair and throws him directly into the crowd. Desire fulfilled. The man yells in confusion about how it happened. Then he's consumed. The others rush to eliminate the nearby zombies, yet more continue to appear. Centipede understands there are too many. The swarm they've provoked won't cease. They must escape. Back at the convenience shop, it's calm. The young girl serves Yael a bowl of ramen. She prepared it for him and also brings the hot water he requested. He instructs her to go. She's done enough. She is not allowed to enter his room unless he calls. She nods and closes the door. He gets the noodles and consumes right away. He's famished. He smiles after a bite. It's delicious. Centipede hangs from the entrance of the store, clinging to evade the zombies beneath. Yael takes a step forward with the hot water bottle. Centipede asks what he's up to. Yael unscrews the lid and pours it over his hand. The skin turns red immediately. Blisters form. Centipede screams but doesn't release his grip. He'd plummet right into the crowd, pleading for assistance while vowing to harm someone. Yael calls him an idiot. Then a tug on his sleeve interrupts him. It's the little girl. She urges him to stop. Allow the man entry. Do not harm him. Yael becomes rigid. He advised her against going upstairs. She maintains. Her father always advised against hurting others. He observes her for a moment. You aren't scared he will enter and harm you. Centipede insists he wouldn't. He's simply starving. Trapped. He has no escape. The streets are teeming with zombies everywhere. Yael clicks his tongue, having intended to release him and allow the horde to complete the task. His gaze falls on a box cutter resting on the table. They permit Centipede entry. He expresses gratitude to the girl warmly, then proclaims that this is now his domain. Disobedience results in death. The girl becomes aware of her error. In the club, chaos ensues as survivors fortify the door while zombies pound it. A bald man curses Centipede for involving them in this chaos. The girls shout. The wooden door can't withstand much longer. The bald man shouts for assistance in stopping it. Yet as he gazes at them, he considers fleeing instead. It's preferable for them to perish than him. Inside the store, Centipede confronts Yael. He comments on her cuteness but warns her of her foolishness if she believes he wouldn't kill. However, because she allowed him entry, he offers her a chance to be his slave. He then faces Yael. Initially, he'll confront the jerk who burned his hand. He intends to cause him pain. Yael remains silent. The box cutter lies firmly in his hand. The girl begs. Her relatives manage this shop. Downstairs, there's chocolate. Plenty of snacks for all. For a moment, there's quiet. She beams with hope. They can all coexist harmoniously. The centipede strikes. He charges at her in rage. Are you mocking me? The blade gleams. In just half a second, Yael cuts through Centipede's wounded hand. Centipede wails. Yael turns the cutter into a reverse grip and advances once more. Centipede intercepts the attack. Yael targets his throat. Centipede is larger. He delivers a kick to Yael's abdomen. Yael is sent flying backward. The girl falls down alongside him. Bleeding Yael lifts himself and approaches him. Centipede scoffs. No one has ever angered me like this. With one kick, Yael senses his ribs breaking as the centipede stomps his leg. Agony surges within him. How did you take down that zombie so effortlessly? Centipede insists, not revealing. Yael replies, then you're finished. The stomping persists. He claims Ye Bei will eventually speak. The girl simply observes. Ye Bei allows it to unfold. He desires for her to understand the true nature of this world. However, the price is steep. Eventually, he pleads for him to cease, promising an explanation. Centipede urges him to be quick. Cooperation will ease the suffering. Ye Bei sprays blood onto his face. Mistake made. Centipede crashes him against the wall, delivers a kick, stomps, and punches his jaw, instructs him to perish. This lesson is becoming too extreme. Then it changes. The young girl strikes out, hitting Centipede on the neck. He becomes enraged. What do you believe you're doing? He pushes her forcefully. She strikes the earth. He seizes the box cutter and bellows. They're both doomed to die. However, time's over. Ye Bei strikes the back of his neck with a stick. Centipede falls. Ye Bei struggles to remain upright. The girl gazes at the crimson stain on the ground. Did I end his life? Ye Bei places a hand on her shoulder. She acted as needed. That man was wicked. Confused, she questions why he was so cruel to her when she merely sought to assist. He replies that Centipede isn't deceased. Her expression brightens. They must rescue him. Ye Bei pushes her away. He pulls her out of the room, calls her shockingly naive, and shuts the door. She makes him insane. And now that jerk has messed up his room as well. He takes Centipede by the leg and pulls him toward the window. A single kick sends the body crashing to the street. The zombies converge. A banquet. Centipede awakens just in time to understand the situation. Outside, Ye Bei grumbles. He was fortunate not to have severed his limbs initially. A sound catches his focus. A man is dangling from a building across the street, attempting to evade the zombies beneath. He's losing grip, trembling, pleading for them to go away. Ye Bei shouts, "Is anyone else still alive in there?" He claims to be the final one. They kept the door secured until someone released it. The zombies poured inside. Everyone perished. He pleads to enter the convenience store. Ye Bei declines. If he doesn't act quickly, he'll become like the man on the floor. The survivor glances down, noticing a centipede being devoured. He swallows, summons his courage, and leaps to the next ledge. He navigates like a parkour expert, balancing on a railing. Ye Bei observes as they run past. Almost let down, the zombies left the nightclub crew unfinished. Time moves on. The horde remains outside, the windows shattered. Ye Bei unlocks his bedroom door. The young girl remains. "Didn't I instruct you to take a bath?" He snaps. She looks inside. The body has vanished. "Don't look," he says. "He's below." She pauses. "Did he get away?" He describes how he threw that man out. Only a deity could have endured. She gazes downward, troubled. Why take his life that way? Even the wicked can transform. Ye Bei forcefully shuts the door overhead. "Are you really that oblivious? After all, in this apocalypse, he was always intent on trying to kill you." She echoes the term apocalypse as if he's insane. Claims he has no idea what he's discussing. He leaves. There's no use in debating. He might as well shower again. She demands to converse. Requires 2 steps. Then falls. He grabs her just in time. He lifts her onto the bed, examining for bite marks. Nope. Likely a fever. There must be some medicine in here. That clarifies why she has appeared weak from the beginning. He discovers a box. A pink notebook rests atop the medicine inside. He browses through. This is a list of donors. Health records. He assembles the information. Yao Yudon, 14 years of age. Leukemia. He raises her shirt a bit and sees the bandages spread over her skin. Numerous puncture wounds. She's undergone transfusions. Perhaps that's why she's eager to assist others. She has relied on their generosity. Yet the world she aims to rescue has vanished. He looks in his pocket. The essences of the apocalypse remain. He is unsure whether they would assist with something like this. Night descends. Zombies fill the streets. Yet it's silent. By dawn, they remain still, gazing at the sun as if captivated by it. Later, Yebel finds himself awake at the table, shivering. He must have dozed off. He senses someone watching him. Yao Yu is positioned behind the door. She is already awake. He inquires if she feels improved. She pauses. He asks her to brew some coffee before she responds. He halts her as she turns. Gather tools and they're searching for her father regarding food. She blinks. They are actually doing that. Indeed, he states. Her father has gone to gather supplies. They can't abandon him out there. She objects. Her father instructed her to remain still. Be obedient. Don't search for him. He inquires about the duration of his absence. Minimum of 3 days. Typically, it takes about half a day. Then consider, he states. Why hasn't he returned? She retorts that he yelled 3 days prior that he was heading home. Yib has been persistent since that time. He might have been bitten, confined, awaiting assistance. Oughtn't they attempt? She bows her head. Her father insisted that she must not leave no matter what. Yib, feeling frustrated, labels her an idiot. He questions why she would save a criminal yet refuses to help her own father. He emphasizes that this matter is not open for debate. He could eliminate her and depart solo, yet she rescued him. Thus, locating her father is his way of repaying her. Quit complaining. Pack up. They're off. She hurries away, almost falling down the stairs. These discussions drain him. The city outside is in devastation. Zombies continue to gaze upward. Next, a motor. A jeep drives along the road behind them. A jeep drives along the road behind them. They seize the hood and are thrown aside. Inside the convenience store again, Yib accumulates food supplies, preparing to depart. He looks back at Ewer. Why are you hiding? Have you finished packing? She appears tiny and somber. And what's that outfit? We aren't attending the party. He lets it fall. Where are the instant noodles? She passes them along. He scans the store while eating. Preparation. As soon as that door opens, he must eliminate zombies and locate a functioning car, then safely get her inside without her acting impulsively. That will be the challenging part. She's munching on spicy sticks. He requests one. She's still upset from being reprimanded constantly. Then an individual comes closer. In an instant, everything implodes inward. Shelves collapse. Debris scatters. Earthquake. Yib whispers. No, it's a vehicle that plowed partway into the store. The door opens wide. A portly bald man in military attire exits, chuckling, and claims he's fortunate to discover a convenience store. He pushes a zombie away. A good zombie is a dead one. He walks in, eyes brightening at the treats, crouches down, moistens his lips. Big win. The downtown area was deserted. He decided to explore this vacant block. It seems to have been worthwhile. A box cutter appears. Drop it, Yib commands. The last bug that entered was handled swiftly. I won't think twice. The stout guy is quick to respond. Toss snacks at Yib's face. Yib blinks. The man snatches what he can and rushes back to the vehicle, slamming the door. Yib is at the window immediately. Dirty swine. Die. The blade hovers near. I give in. The guy exclaims. At that moment, Yao Yuru instructs Yib to cease killing. The two men gaze at her as she stutters an explanation. If he passes away, who will cover the store's damages? Yib observes her. The plump man shakes. A gradual smile emerges on Yib's face. She's correct. He informs the man that the car will handle the damage. Next, he instructs Yao Yuru to collect her bags. They are departing. She consents but then halts. The collision has attracted a crowd. Zombies flood the street. The overweight guy is frantic. He just eliminated several. Why are there more? Yao Yuru leaps into the vehicle. Doors shut. Fasten your seatbelts, the driver shouts. He accelerates rapidly. Zombies grasp the sides as the truck speeds ahead, obliterating all in its way. He races through the streets as if in an action film, even drifting around corners like it's fast and furious. Keep driving, Yib cautions, or I'll slit your throat. The driver insists they must eliminate zombies to pass through. Yib pays no attention to him. Yao Yuru, where was your father going? Fudong supermarket. That's what he mentioned during the last call. The driver moans. That spot is perpetually crowded. It's probably teeming with zombies now. Quit complaining. Yabe insists, drive or you'll perish there. They ultimately disperse the horde. The plump man looks over his shoulder. If it becomes dull, I can play some music. On the road, everything at last. Settle. A zombie sprawls on the road, a branch grasped tightly in its hand. It raises an arm as the jeep nears. The plump driver doesn't hesitate. He drives over it without flinching, music blaring loudly. Munching sweets, cutting through whatever lies ahead. Him obviously enjoying every moment of his life. Lower the volume. Yabe states, I need to unwind. Take it easy. The driver responds. This vehicle is sturdy. Yabe lifts the box cutter. Are you not listening? Silence. The driver hits the brakes hard. I didn't say to stop, Yabe states. I said to stop the noise. The driver gulps. We are out of gas. Yabe and Yahello both shout in anger. The driver expresses regret for forgetting the nearby gas stations. He begins to eat voraciously. If I'm going down, I'm going full. Yahello perceives a noise outside. A gigantic zombie stands at her window. They've halted next to a park. A swarm begins encroaching. Even if the vehicle remains intact, they'll be stuck. Yabe then notices a machete behind the seat. Zombies crash into the windows. A door bursts open unexpectedly, dislodged from its hinges. Yabe exits steadily as a zombie attacks. The machete gleams. One completed. Within, Yahello quakes. Yabe smiles. Great edge. A different zombie stumbles in. For beginners like this suffices. Cut. Another falls. Two more approach. He strikes one in the chest, pivots, and takes the other down. The driver gazes in shock. Even Yahello watches in shock as another giant falls. Yabe strikes the blade on the vehicle. The driver shakes his head. Yabe says, Stay in there, and you'll die regardless. There are other vehicles nearby. Perhaps we can siphon fuel. As Yabe deals with the zombies, the driver focuses on refueling. Given all that singing, he should definitely be familiar with a vehicle. Yabe instructs Yahello to remain indoors. It's too risky. He then signals for the driver to proceed. The man pauses, claims he requires a moment. It's too late. Yabe has already taken down another zombie. No fear whatsoever. He cuts through another and shouts back. Move. The driver abruptly recalls the fuel canisters in the truck bed, contemplating that perhaps Yabe might be worth retaining. Yabe eliminates another and inquires about his previous statement. The driver hesitates, stunned. That's it. If they hold on for a moment, he can top off the tank. Later, Yabe states, I need your assistance first. He spreads his fingers. A green pearl lies in his hand. These originate from zombie brains. As I slay, you gather. The driver turns pale. He has never experienced this. The simple, Yabe demonstrates. Hurry up. Understand? The driver winces. That's revolting. I prefer to remain in the vehicle. Return and you'll be chopped up, Yabe responds. How can I manage that without a knife? Utilize your hands. Yabe advances and takes down another zombie. The driver gulps nervously, moves toward the initial body, then panics, dashes back to the jeep, retrieves a tool, whispers a prayer. No time. Yabe snaps. Begin collecting. The driver looms over the body, perspiring. It's not alive, is it? The overweight man strikes the lifeless body and begins to search. A tiny green crystal lands in his hand. Is that all? He gazes at it in astonishment. Simpler than he thought. There is indeed something within the skull. He never envisioned a human head could create this. Are these valuable? He inquires. Be quiet, Yabe responds. The man begins to ponder if this is the reason for the zombie transformation. Perhaps he should take a few. In the meantime, Yabe chops another cluster. Eventually, he makes a call. That's sufficient. The ones further away aren't valuable. This body remains untrained. It's more challenging than it ought to be. He looks back. How many? The plump man grins. A lot. Claims it's nearly enjoyable. Wash them. Keep. Fill the tank now. It's time to go. Yabe monitors Yahello. Her situation's deteriorated. He seizes her arm, shouting her name. Her skin's on fire. The fever's risen above prior levels. He searches through her bag. They had taken medicine and water before. The plump guy leans closer. What's the matter with her? Be quiet. Fill the tank. Eventually, the fever subsides a bit. The driver proposes she might have overheated in the car. Feeling better? Yahibai silences him with a fierce look. They wasted time as he feigned that they had run out of fuel. If he conceals anything more, he's finished. The man quickly apologizes, claiming he won't deceive again. Yaoyur awakens. They continue driving, following As they drive along the road, the driver looks over, praises Yahibai's skill with the blade, and inquires about his name. You go first, Yahibai replies. Yaohang, I operate a workshop in the city. That truck? It's for repairs from a customer. Never returned after the apocalypse struck. Yahibai. In an instant, Yaohang hits the brakes. The truck slides. Yahibai takes hold of the seat for balance. What was that? The path's obstructed. In front, destroyed cars blaze along the stretch. No passage available. Yaoyur continues to shake, but at least she's upright now. Yahibai examines the obstruction. There's no way to access the location where her father went. She merely observes. Quiet. There's an alternative path, Yaohang mentions. Is it longer? Are we still proceeding? Yes, but we require improved weapons first. He inquires if Yaohang knows an electrician or a weapons store. Yaohang considers, then agrees. He is acquainted with a blacksmith from his hometown. Talented. This intrigues Yahibai. There's a strong possibility he's still alive. If not, supplies should remain. This machete? He crafted it. More resources lead to superior equipment. Valuable. Yaohang begins to reflect. Regarding past eras. Shu, Yaoyur whispers. Yahibai has fallen asleep. They cross a bridge into a different district. Yaohang exits and stretches. At last, though years have gone by, the location remains largely the same. Yahibai surveys the surroundings. This better be worthwhile. If not, you'll be overwhelmed here. Clear the area before entering. First rule. He surveys the zombies beyond. Do any resemble your friend? Zhao Heng pauses, uncertain. Then he begins gathering pearls. Yahibai states, Hold on. A voice emerges from the vehicle. Yayura moves closer. I wish to assist. Yahibai informs Yayura that she might faint or get bitten, hindering their progress. She asserts she's okay now and will be cautious. Zhao Heng smiles. If she's daring, I'll excavate. She can gather. Yahibai's tone chills. If either of you is bitten, I'll take you out myself. Yayura observes. He speaks as if he means it. Yahibai advances, slicing through zombies. Zhao Heng breaks skulls and converses as Yayura places the green pearls into a bag. From an adjacent structure, a person observes with binoculars. A man smoking a cigarette, his eyes filled with annoyance. A different man arrives. Brother Lu. Lu reacts sharply without looking back. Knock next time. A newcomer outside shakes with fear. What's happening? Lu inquires. They're in the neighboring blacksmith shop. 3 individuals are present. One man is fighting zombies solo. Lu mentions he's already seen them. Why disturb him? The newcomer hesitates. This one's unique. Lu contemplates. Next movements. A girl delivers instant noodles to him. He throws. The rookie gets the pack. Eat. Report accurately afterward. The newcomer smiles. Brother Lu is incredible. Lu absent-mindedly caresses the girl next to him. She appears weary. She collapses to her knees from hunger. Get the chubby one out. Lu commands. Gather everyone. Complete the remainder. Those who do will be rewarded. Returning to the shop, the zombies are subdued. Only 1 pearl remains. Yebe instructs Zhao Heng to inspect the perimeter as he enters. He forcefully opens the door to reveal a complete blacksmith workshop, scanning the area filled with anvil, tools, and weapon racks. The forge continues to blaze. Someone visited here lately. Zhao Heng observes that the area appears undamaged, yet he is unaware of his friend's whereabouts. Collect pearls and car scrap, Yebe instructs. Own your blade. Why not take one of these? Zhao Hang points to the completed weapons on the wall. In a week, they'll be worthless. Zhao Hang's eyes widen in realization. Yebe is crafting something innovative. Move! Yebe commands sharply. Zhao Hang grumbles about his temper. Yao Yu inquires about what actions she should take. The forge blazes. Pistons move. Mechanics primary craft. Building. Yebe glides a metal. He inserts the tube into the fire and begins hammering. Zhao Hang observes, impressed. Is someone this young skilled in blacksmithing? Yebe commands to pour the pearls into the cup. Zhao Hang complies. The pearls dissolve in the flames, transforming into a luminous green fluid. A mystical aura emanates from it. Yebe makes a cut, a bottle of strawberry juice, and empties it into the molten blend. The liquid merges. He applies it to the blade. The metal takes in the light. He strikes once more. The sound reverberates outdoors. Brother Luo's team listens to it. The novice appears frightened. A man with a sharp jaw grins. Simple resources. A man with long hair claims the true reward is time spent with Haiguan. A man wearing a polo shirt warns them. If Brother Luo desires this man dead, there's a motive. It's wiser to wait until night when their vigilance wanes, then attack. Inside, Yebe continues crafting. The design appears nearly futuristic. Mechanical, exact. Zhao Hang begins to question whether this child is from a prestigious engineering university. Yebe completes one. He retrieves the first section from the water and promptly begins another piece. Zhao Hang whistles. That electric design is awesome. Yebe simply smiles. The materials await. It's time to demonstrate the true skills of a mechanic. Yao Yu places noodles on the table, silently content simply being close to him. She feels secure. Suddenly, a hand covers her mouth. The long-haired weirdo pulls her away, claiming he's bringing her to another location. Inside, Yebe has recently completed sharpening the blade. He secures it in a mechanical structure and places it down. Zhao Hang gazes. I've only witnessed things like that in films. Yebe links two cables. It's time to energize it. The weapon activates, radiating a green glow. Despite the generator sputtering, it remains functional. Sort of second order. Yebe states, completed. Zhao Hang desires one as well. Suddenly, they hear Yao Yu scream. They hurry outdoors, directly into Brother Lu's crew. Yao Yu lies motionless in a man's embrace. Yebe's expression dims. The bald leader commands him to lower the weapon, or the girl will die. Yebe lifts his arm instead. A single cut. A shockwave rips through the earth, cleaving the man in half. Another attempts to escape. Where do you believe you're headed? Another cut. Metal fragments resemble paper. Fear explodes. They disperse. Yebe has already completed his first headless night behind them. A man shouts for them to let the girl go, if they wish to. The abductor declines. If they don't escape, Brother Lu will eliminate them afterward. A lightning bolt streaks by their faces. Yebe strides ahead, composed. Zhao Hang yells that another horde approaches from the rear. These zombies now move quicker than ever, as if something transformed them. Zhao Hang halts. What's next? Yebe holds. The blade strikes and discharges. Green arcs illuminate. Zombies collapse consecutively. Zhao Hang observes in amazement as Yebe slices through them with a flurry of blows. However, the two abductors are escaping. Zhao Hang shouts that they're going to the building. Clearly, Yebe gestures. Quit looking. Get the car and pursue. Zhao Hang jumps into the jeep and accelerates away. Yebe continues to fight through the crowd. The task of rescuing the damsel now rests on Zhao Hang. The escaping men hear the engines roar as he charges toward them. They jump onto a bus obstructing the entrance to their base. He stops abruptly. The bus blocks the entrance. He exits, uncertain about his next move. Inside, additional men observe from the windows. Only one overweight man? Simple. They disembark from the bus and caution him to depart the vehicle. Otherwise, they'll incinerate everyone in that structure. Zhao Hang scoffs. Give it a shot. A man in a cap boasts about having killed more people than Zhao Hang has eaten chickens. A daring assertion, considering Zhao Hang's stature. He prepares himself, you're inviting death. A green crescent zips by him. The assailant is cleaved in two. The bus behind him also bursts open. Zhao Hang winks. Yebe's arrived. Zombies eliminated. Yebe states, we're conserving. He swings at her again, and the bus divides neatly in half. Beyond the columns, additional men get ready to attack. Yebe strides directly into the open. When a knife is thrown, he feels it, stops it in flight, and responds with a slash. Another body falls from behind a pile of crates. Someone throws a Molotov. Yebe avoids it, as if he's dancing, responding with a green crescent slash. A gunshot rings out. The bullet narrowly avoids. He glides like Neo in slow motion, while Brother Lu observes from above. Amazed. States Yebe's exceptional. Inquires about his strength. Suggests a drink. States he values skill. Yebe lifts his blade in response. Luo points at Yao Yue. Stay still, she's resting quietly. In an instant, she might be gone. He claims to be treating Yebe with respect, so he should quit posturing. Or they may assess if a bullet outpaces a sword. Yebe observes him quietly. Zhao Hang quietly inquires about the plan, noting they have firearms. Yebe abruptly grins. He claims he's open to discussion, working on a significant project that requires assistance. If Luo assembles everyone, they'll have an opportunity. Luo squints, questioning his true intentions, but decides to welcome him regardless. Zhao Hang whispers that it's crazy to confront them all alone, armed. Yebe calmly advises, if you're afraid, leave. Zhao Hang shakes, yet claims if Yebe's venturing solo, he's joining as well. No regrets, Yebe finds him bothersome. The attendants guide him in. Shortly he finds himself in a room filled with Luo's full team. Luo greets him, states that every healthy individual within a 15-kilometer radius is present. He is the leader, Luo Shang, asking for your name and the assistance you require. Yebe recalls Luo Shang. Inquires whether he understands how this catastrophe began. Luo tenses. How is it that Yebe knows him and the background of this? Yebe praises him for recognizing the signs early and gathering supplies. Discusses his probable intention to establish the Nether Dragon Association. Luo's bewilderment grows. That name was known to only a select few, so how does this kid know? Yebe creates a green pearl and believes Luo is more intrigued by it. Luo, growing frustrated, urges him to stop with the games and speak. Yebe hesitates before revealing everything. It could have originated from a virus brought by birds from abroad, a bioweapon for population control, or an alien meteor delivering something unfamiliar. He assumes Luo is aware of all three theories. Luo nods, aware that he understands the virus better than many, which explains why he moved individuals from the city center to this remote base. He retrieves 2 pearls from his pocket. States he remains puzzled about why they develop within zombie brains. However, he believes Yebe's major project is linked to that sword. Yebe affirms it, but he requires help. Luo consents, but with one stipulation. He wishes to examine the sword first, as Yebe begins to raise it. Luo brings his attention back to the girl nearby. Nobody desires a sorrowful conclusion. Yebe hesitates, then passes it along. A minion seizes it and almost falls, claims it's incredibly weighty. Luo sneers and attempts himself. He can't even raise it, he chuckles dryly. Today's filled with surprises. Go ahead, Luo says, while Yebe reveals the truth to them. When an individual becomes infected, a pearl starts to develop in their brain. Initially dark, it absorbs more energy the longer it stays within a zombie. That energy is compatible with the human body. It can also create weapons significantly more powerful than any standard steel can. Luo leans in, curious. If it adjusts to the body, can we ingest them and continue gaining strength? Yebe mentions that consuming the pearls is feasible, but most individuals become zombies. Luo inquires about the fate of those who don't. Observe, Yebe states, I'll demonstrate to you. Phase 1. Initiation. He joins 2 power cables and green energy flows throughout the room. Generators ignite and burst into flames. Blackout. What? Did you hear Luo's shouts? Simultaneously, Yebe seizes the sword and thrusts forward. but the initial strike fails. Luo retaliates. Yebe dodges the shot. He secures his grip and slices cleanly through the man. The shaking leader understands too late. He misjudged him. Here is where the Nether Dragon gang meets its end. Yebe states icily. In an alternate reality, you'd create weapons, establish a system of slavery, gain infamy. Not this time. Another cut, more bodies disintegrate. The floor's destroyed. Blood all over. Yebe looks at Yaoyu, who remains unconscious. Relief eases his expression as he tenderly tucks her hair behind her ear. The world is harsh enough. She shouldn't have to witness this. A silhouette emerges in the doorway. Zhao Hang, the timid one who fled earlier. He enters with a flashlight, astonished. Did you eliminate them all? Indeed, Yebe grabs a weapon from the ground, mission accomplished. Wait, Zhao Hang inquires. We traveled all this distance for that. Not for you, right? Yebe responds, in this world, weapons advance. They're more perilous than before. Zhao Hang wonders about the outcome, admiring Yebe's clever ploy of throwing pearls into the generator to create chaos. Suddenly, a bottle clinks to the floor, and they see a girl collapsed nearby. Pleading with them to spare her, Zhao Hang exclaims about the presence of a damsel in distress, explaining that Luke Shang took her captive, forcing her into slavery and enduring daily torment. She insists she has no ties to the gang, prompting Yebe to inquire if she knows where Luke concealed his remaining supplies. She agrees, proposes to guide them. While walking, Zhao Hang inquires about her origins, to which she answers, an eastern city. They pause at an elevator. The storage units are located on the 6th floor. Yebe instructs Zhao Hang to remain with Yor while he goes to inspect the storage with the girl. Amid the debris, a hurt lackey crawls over the corpses and spots Luke Shang cut in two. His gaze falls upon a pearl. He recalls Yebe naming it Black Metal Intensity, remembers Luke Shang consuming it could transform someone into a deity. Out of choices, he gulps down. His pupils contract. Veins protrude. He writhes in pain as thunder rumbles outside. Yaoyu stirs. Rain cascades outside the windows. She inquires about her location. Zhao Hang reassures her to stay calm. Although she was abducted, they rescued her. Yebe arrives, seeing she's conscious. Did you find anything? Zhao Hang questions. Yes, but relocating it will take until tomorrow. And the girl? Yebe replies. She fled as soon as we got to the storage. Odd in this downpour. He shakes it off. Move on from her. They require rest. Following this storm, the streets will be filled with zombies. In other places, a girl bathes softly. A man's voice resonates beyond the door. She hasn't transformed and is inside his home. Nothing comes without a cost. He shakes the doorknob, stating that besides her body, she possesses nothing. Proposal. She yells for assistance. He chuckles. In weather like this, no one can hear her. Suddenly, the door opens by itself. He becomes immobile and steps outside to see what occurred. The man near the shower commits a deadly error. A scream resonates. The girl looks outside. He's been overwhelmed. Against the wall by a gigantic beast. She screams. The creature looms, gazing intently at her. It extends. She retreats, pleading for it to stay away. It halts, sees its reflection in the mirror, then crumples, gripping its head. I'm not a monster. It strikes the floor, questioning why it has become this. The blonde, shaken, inquires about his identity. He claims he was shot. Then he ingested a zombie pearl. His body began to mutate. She's bewildered. Individuals transform into this by consuming the black metal pearls. He claims that a person named Yebe informed him about taking the pearl from a monster's head. Her gaze intensifies. He brought up Yebe. With newfound courage, she insists on discovering his whereabouts. The creature informs her that Yebe has just come to the city and eliminated everyone inside a structure. The blonde Ruashi from earlier smirks icily. She aims to eliminate Yebe. The creature shakes its head. Unthinkable. Yebe's too powerful. Ruashi claims her condition is due to him. They are foes. She examines the being. If he can take a man's life in an instant, Doesn't that make him strong as well? He claims to feel powerful, yet struggles to manage it. Then he inquires if she's scared of him. Ruashi laughs as if she's gone crazy. She glides her hand over his arm. "You're powerful," she claims. "Assist me in defeating Yebe, and I'll grant you anything you desire." She appears unfazed by his monstrous size. He picks her up, thrilled. "Then I'll aid you in slaying him." She grins. The plan is ready. Yet his body shakes. Something isn't right. He collapses, yelling. The night goes by. Dawn arrives. Yebe prepares himself. Inside the warehouse, he discovers additional instant noodles, cigarettes, and beverages. He secures the wicked sword to his back. Supplies are ready. It's time to go. They go downstairs. Zhao Hang stops. The car's roof is crushed. It appears to be a meteor impact. He panics, almost crying. "We can't open it." Yebe examines the destruction. It's too extensive for a mere storm. With one cut, the roof detaches completely. The truck transforms into a convertible. The mirror remains unscathed, appearing original. They ascend. The engine continues to run. "Looks like we're searching for her father now." Zhao Hang inquires. "Indeed." They deploy. Zhao Hang smiles. Convertible apocalypse version. Quite good. Then the zombies spot them. To the side, a girl and multiple students dash away from a crowd. Yebe identifies them. His old classmates. Still living. They're calling for assistance. A clumsy girl stumbles. Zombies surround. A green crescent cuts through the stash disintegrates. The students gaze in disbelief. They spot Yebe approaching them. He grins. "Did not anticipate seeing you again." They express their gratitude in a panic, believing they were doomed. The blond man gazes in disbelief. "How did you gain such strength?" Yebe brushes it off. "Where to now?" They recount their escape from the school, mentioning a camp being established on an island, where many perished en route. Car comes into view. "Can we hitch a ride?" A girl approaches, clearly hungry. "Do you have any food?" Yao Yura observes silently, noting their desperation. Zhao Hang comments that they likely care more about his vehicle than anything else. Yebe lifts his hand. Silence. The car is nearly out of gas. He can't drive them far. And before they request a ride, they must owe him a favor. The former classmates nod enthusiastically. They'll do anything. Yebe grins. Zhao clarify the guidelines. Zhao brightens, instantly taking control. Yebe approaches the leftover zombies. "I'll take care of them. You manage. Clean up." The students stare in bewilderment. Zhao distributes tools and shows how to retrieve the pearls. The simple. A girl collapses right there. Yao Yura calmly states that the skulls are pliable and easy to remove. The others gaze at her, curious about the life experiences that shaped her composure. Zhao continues handing out tools, cautioning them to avoid bites. The blond man quietly asks why the green dancer is so eager for these pearls. Yao Shubei continues to eliminate zombies as they gather. 2 hours later, the bag is packed. Yao Shubei instructs them to distribute some food. Zhao Hang reacts angrily. He disapproves of Yao Shubei distributing resources without permission. The students plead, but the overweight guy declines to share even a few crumbs. Suddenly, a metallic crunch echoes as something impacts the car frame. The fully mutated creature looms. Over there, the one before. Yao Shubei instantly identifies it. An evolved ability user. "Run," he yells. A slash almost severs his arm completely. He jumps back and releases a green crescent. The creature evades. It's not brainless. It's contemplating. Delayed applause resonates. Ruashi advances. The queen in her low-cut attire. Yebe's gaze deepens. The students stare. Class representative? Ruashi claims she endured everything possible, solely to reunite with Yebai D. She commands the creature to eliminate him. Yebai is puzzled by its support for her. The creature lunges forward. He must confront it head-on. Yuyur utters his name. A fireball crashes between them. Another figure is on the rooftop. A creature wreathed in long hair flames. Transition to a vessel on the ocean. A man puffs on a cigar, claiming life is tranquil here. Zombies lack flight. They intend to collect resources from additional vessels. Suddenly, a boat detonates. The creature with flame-colored hair descends. Males shout. Then they vanish. Return to the street. The fiery being perches on a structure, gazing down. Yabai and the altered creature gaze upward. A different advanced user. Inferior and basic type. Ruashi is confused. She inquires of her monster whether that entity is his ally. He replies he doesn't understand. The fire being jumps, seizes him by the neck. Evidently unfriendly, he attempts to persuade her. She places a foot in his, strikes him in the stomach and pushes him into a car. She engulfs him in flames. Xiaohang cries out as their car and food ignite. Ditch the vehicle. Sprint. Yabai yells. He seizes Yao Yu-er and shifts. Ruashi cries out for her monster to eliminate Yabai. The creature fights hard. This battle isn't in his favor. Abruptly, the flame entity launches a fireball directly at Yao Yu. The earth bursts open. Everyone flees. Yao Yu stumbles. Yet Yabai manages to pull her to safety just in time. A wall of flames erupts between them and their foes. Move. Yabai shouts. Quit gazing. Where? Xiaohang weeps. Yabai notices a garage opening on the opposite side. He rushes toward it. Come along. Ruashi's behind them. The monster confronts the flame creature once more. He attempts to calm her. They must avoid conflict. Did she consume the black metal energy as well? She whispers a single phrase. Black pearl. The flame being abruptly grabs her head and falls. I had no desire to consume it. She claims that madmen restrained her to a bed and shoved the pearl into her mouth. She desires their demise. The one who kills them receives the ashes. Ruashi's creature agrees. It had no choice. He comprehends. Ruashi interrupts them. That's enough. Yabai is escaping. With her arms folded, she ridicules them. How can they seek revenge if they allow him to flee? The monster guarantees he can still follow Yabai's scent. The flame creature inquires about the significance of Yabai. The black monster reveals that Yabai is aware of the pearls and might even possess the knowledge to restore their humanity. The fire being pauses. If a path exists, she will reunite with them. Yabai, along with the others, dash down the street. A vehicle suddenly speeds toward them and detonates, obstructing their way. The creature lands close by, declaring the battle isn't finished. He realizes Yabai comprehends the cursed pearl. It's time to converse. Yabai understands he cannot escape this. He instructs Xiaohang to flee with Yao Yu-er while he distracts the threat. They round a corner, only to be confronted by the flame creature. Encircled, Xiaohang whispers. Ruashi sits casually on a car, chuckling. There's no way out. Yabai's done with her. He instructs his friends to hold back while he takes charge. The dark creature lunges forward. Yabai evades. He draws a Glock and shoots. The bullet strikes Ruashi in the shoulder. She yells. The creature halts. He believed Yabai targeted him. Another shot. This time, Ruashi's abdomen. The creature leaps in front of her just. Yabai trails behind with a green slash. He absorbs the blow intended for her. The flame creature attacks from behind, setting the street ablaze. Yabai dodges. A firestorm rushes toward him. He counters it with his sword. Yao Yu-er and Xiaohang observe in despair. Yao Yu-er grabs an axe out of her bag and throws it. It ricochets off the flame creature's head ineffectively. The creature spins. Xiaohang is alarmed. That diversion provides Yabai an opportunity. Nearly. However, his actual aim is the pipe above. A single hit. The pipe breaks. Water cascades, extinguishing the fire. Steam ascends. Yabai leaps and cuts. The fire entity. She screams. He almost slices her foot as she stumbles backward. She withdraws. Yabai confronts the dark beast once more. You'll regret this, the creature threatens. Both beings retreat, bruised. They've vanished. Yabai is solitary, then kneels down. Fatigued, Yao Yu hurries to him. Is he injured? No. He feels a sense of relief. They have endured two ability users. Xiaohang inquires about the origin of these entities. Yabai hesitates briefly before clarifying. When humans ingest pearls, most turn into zombies, but in about 1 in 10,000 instances, one evolves into an ability user. Even more uncommon, preserving their sanity. Xiaohang inquires about his knowledge. I'll clarify later. At this moment, they must determine their next step. The car is gone. Misplaced the meal. Yebai scowls. The apocalypse is progressing more rapidly than ever before. He must create something more resilient before it deteriorates further. It was raining outside once more. The car was badly damaged. Xiaohang wept, claiming they could still recover some supplies. To make matters worse, those cursed creatures had piled all the vehicles in front of the garage, completely obstructing their escape, leaving them without any. He gave them both a coat, mentioning it was the sole item he possessed to shield them from the rain. Our son inquired of you about the situation. She mentioned that she had visited this place previously. A family friend resided close. She gestured to a mountain. Following that trail would lead them to his home. The large man inquired about the individual's identity and their current status. She replied that he was somewhat odd, yet a decent person. At least that was her hope. His residence featured tall walls, numerous computers, and ample food, indicating he was likely secure. The large man inquired whether the guy operated a cybercafe at home. Our protagonist suggested that since he was a friend of her father, perhaps her dad was present as well. It was worth investigating regardless. However, the swarm of zombies was approaching them once more. Yebe declared he would pave the path, urging them to stay close. At the same time, the other giant creature was ravaging zombies. He approached one, tore out a pearl, declared it sufficient, and leaped onto the structure. The fire monster girl was sheltering from the rain. He entered from the outdoors, called for Ruchi, and she was nearly on the brink of passing out. He mentioned he brought pearls. She instructed him to pass them quickly. Yet the creature inquired whether she was certain about eating that. She instructed him to hand it over and leave immediately. Room. Wow, the giant creature was scorched. Like a fool, he continued to respect her. The fire girl inquired whether she had consumed it. He remarked that she appeared to be uncertain. Her friend added that she would also hesitate, particularly after witnessing her transformation post-consumption. However, the enormous creature claimed he simply wished for her survival. The fire girl had sealed her injuries, yet she understood that she wouldn't make it without medical aid. The other one realized her only opportunity could be consuming that. The fire girl mentioned it would be beneficial. She could transform like them, gaining another ally to assist in their efforts. They would eliminate anyone they desired and seek vengeance on all. However, the large creature mentioned that there could be powerful individuals like Yibi nearby. Additionally, her arm still hadn't regenerated. The monster girl remarked it was odd. His weapon appeared capable of withstanding her flames. The large, dark-skinned creature suggested that the optimal strategy was to abduct that individual and compel him to disclose all information regarding the pearls. Then, she presented herself as Zhou. The large, dark-skinned creature introduced himself as Wang Shen. Reunited with our pals, another being descended. Despite the rain, it maintained its pace without hesitation. However, our boy was growing weary. Zhou Hong observed this and suggested they locate a place to take a break. He reassured him not to fret and inquired of Zhuo War about their whereabouts. She indicated a bridge, mentioning that they would ascend the mountain after crossing it. However, the issue was that the tunnel ahead was flooded and appeared quite deep. Our son noticed everything was blocked. He noticed a wooden plank, instructed Zhuo War to climb on, and mentioned they would push it forward. The trio ventured into the tunnel. Zhou Hong, filled with fear, questioned whether zombies might lurk beneath the water. Yubei remained silent as Zhuo War shouted to him. The unfortunate fellow was merely attempting to keep his eyes open. Eventually, he lost consciousness, pulling her small raft along. He dove directly into the pristine water. Returning to the monsters, they noticed the rain had yet to cease. Wang Shen opted to return to the room to speak with Rushi. Upon arrival, he observed her emitting purple energy. He inquired about what had transpired and she began yelling, hitting his chest. Zhou hurried in and inquired about their shouting. A black aura erupted throughout the whole house. Now we find ourselves in the past life of our beloved Yubei. He was rescued from the water, and Rushi inquired about the whereabouts of his mechanical group. She was angry when he didn't respond, and he instructed her to go to hell. She labeled him arrogant and claimed he'd face consequences. She then pushed him back into the water. Eventually, he regained consciousness in the present. In the small room, Yubei had dozed off on his leg. She stirred, still drowsy, then brightened when she noticed he was awake. She was excited he had finally regained consciousness. He inquired about his location. At that moment, the large man entered, teasing him for finally being awake. Yubei appeared irritated that the large man remained with them, remarking that it was clear he was the one who had brought him along. Our son inquired how they pulled him up the incline and poured that heavily. An elderly man with gray hair entered and expressed his desire to know that as well. How could a young boy, a large man, and a kid endure in a zombie-infested city? You felt thrilled and referred to him as Grandpa Zhang. He stated that Zhou Ring had rescued our boy from the water, but was uncertain about the next steps. Fortunately, he had been monitoring via camera. He arrived in a car and helped everyone get out. Yubei inquired whether the old man had witnessed everything. The elder affirmed that he had, remarking how Yubei was dispatching zombies effortlessly, as if they were mere cucumbers. He expressed admiration for the remarkable weapon and asked about its origin. Our protagonist stood firm, insisting he couldn't disclose that information and demanded its immediate return. He attempted to intimidate the old man, but his strength faltered, causing him to collapse to his knees, utterly drained. The elder noted that wielding the sword seemed to sap one's vitality. He then introduced himself, stating his name was Zhang and that they could refer to him as Professor Zhang. This was his laboratory where he studied the zombie virus. Yubei appeared to recall the name. Suddenly, it dawned on him. This was the first researcher to identify the black energy metal pearls. For a mechanic from the future, Zhang was a prodigy. Our son cautiously inquired whether he was truly Professor Zhang. Feeling sheepish, the elderly man admitted that Professor was merely a title he enjoyed for its pleasant ring. In truth, he was just an individual playing around. If it could help humanity, he desired to investigate further. Yubei thought that if he truly was Professor Zhang, it could be worthwhile. He folded his arms and proposed something even more intriguing for him to study: a living zombie. The elderly man downstairs revealed what was displayed on the table. The weapon was present. Zhang mentioned he had merely examined it, nothing further. Our boy reached for it, and Zhang flinched, claiming he had nearly injured himself trying to lift it. Our boy surveyed the surroundings, awestruck. This location was remarkable. With a workshop like this, they could create even superior weapons. Zhang inquired if he had crafted that item himself. Our boy affirmed it. Zhang became enthusiastic, expressing his desire to observe him create another. Our boy claimed that the production method was confidential. Zhang argued that this was a form of intimidation. Our boy responded that if they provided good food for a few days, he might reconsider. On Zhang's screen, he had gathered data on both of them for quite some time. In this apocalyptic world, there's never a moment of peace. I genuinely pity these zombies who are constantly burdened with soggy feet. Within the facility you possess, monitored the cameras. Zhang entered with a coffee, expressing his happiness at her presence. She replied that she was doing all she could to assist. He praised her for being vigilant in searching for additional survivors. However, he cautioned her that, regrettably, there was still no update regarding her father. She insisted that her father and Professor Zhang were decent individuals, so she believed he was fine. Zhang moved closer and questioned whether the two companions she had brought were genuinely good people. He noted that one student appeared unusual, possessing extensive technological knowledge at such a young age. There was a gaze in his eyes. Zhang recognized it from previous encounters with killers. The large man appeared ordinary, yet Zhang suspected he was concealing secrets. At that moment, the big guy arrived and warned Zhang to cease his insults. Zhang, in his opinion, was the strange one, residing alone in such a vast place. Featuring a helicopter landing area above, numerous vehicles, ample fuel for years, and piles of solar panels, not to forget heaps of food. The elderly man yelled that the large fellow was clueless. He had sensed the impending apocalypse for quite some time, which was why he had been getting ready. Here was this guy, residing in his home, enjoying free meals, yet still had the audacity to talk smack. The elderly man claimed his mission was to save all of humanity. A fight broke out, prompting Ewer to intervene and tell them to cease. At that instant, the large man was struck on the back of his neck. Our son instructed him to stay still. A small amount of blood emerged. Zhao Hang inquired about its purpose. He simply turned and stated that the zombies' mutation was imminent, leaving them with little time to act. A larger catastrophe was approaching, and they had to get ready. The elderly man stiffened at the reference to zombie mutation. Outside, those previous companions continued observing the zombies. Wow, I nearly overlooked those guys. He bent down and informed everyone that the area was encircled, preventing their escape. One of them remarked that the downpour was too intense and the road was impassable. They were uncertain about their next steps, and their companion Zhao Zi had collapsed on the ground. The blonde individual expressed that he had no clue where Yubei had disappeared to. With no food in the building, they faced certain death. However, the blonde mentioned there remained one option. He took out several pearls and displayed them. The others recalled they had taken those from the heads. The blonde mentioned he had secretly kept some out of curiosity. He remembered the creatures that assaulted them claimed to have consumed these. One of the friends questioned whether he was genuinely considering eating that pill. Suddenly, someone interrupted and gestured to the side. "What's that?" Purple smoke billowed from the roof of a different building. The blonde scowled, curious about the tornado occurring over there. At Zhang's residence, our post-apocalyptic mechanic remained engrossed in his tasks. Zhang's house mentioned he had been there for several days, completely unaware of the reason for his intense focus. Zhang speculated that he was likely crafting gear to combat the zombies. Perhaps more of them would transform into beings like that black spine creature or the fiery one. Zhang's house warned that if that occurred, everyone would perish. They lacked any armaments. The old man expressed a desire to construct a refuge, not a battleground. Why would he require weapons? Just then, Yue burst in, calling out for them. She mentioned that she had spotted her father on a camera. They hurried outside. He inquired about the location. She remained at the computer and replied, "The east entrance." She had saved the video and asked him to watch. In the footage, her father was draped in zombie guts, merging with the throng. The elderly man remarked that based on his movements, it seemed he wouldn't. Her father took advantage of the confusion and escaped in disguise. The large man remarked that it was unbelievable. Her father had managed to survive in that manner. The elderly man understood that if the zombies were not attacking due to the odor, it could be worth investigating. Yue inquired about their plans. Zhang hesitated. He mentioned the weather was awful, and Yue appeared reluctant to depart. Zhang Heng suggested she ask Yue directly. Perhaps he had created something remarkable. Cut to him declining. He still had work to complete, so there was no need to hurry him. He instructed her not to disturb him, except when food was being brought. The large man commented that he was overdoing it and should at least attempt to console her. Our boy inquired why the big guy didn't save her father on his own. The big guy only understood when he noticed what our boy had created: a gun and a blade. Yue mentioned he would apply his blood to them so the big guy could wield them. The big guy paused, then found them much lighter than before. Yue clarified that weapons embedded with crystals could interpret his thoughts. Yet, similar to how he managed those light blades, he needed to be cautious or risk depleting his energy. Zhang Heng's face lit up as he mentioned he had documented everything. He then inquired about the gun he had found, and our boy affirmed it. To use it, he needed to allow it to build up energy. The shots were strong, but precision was essential since he couldn't shoot frequently. Zhang Heng's eyes widened in excitement. He remarked that it resembled a laser cannon and was eager to give it a try. He dashed out of the base into the downpour, aimed at the heavens and shot. A laser shot up. He began shouting that it was amazing. He prepared the blade and struck, stating that he now possessed equal power to Yerebe. The elderly man was enraged with the large man for trying out everything. Zhang Heng, however, was ecstatic. proclaiming his invincibility. He donned his raincoat and boots, and declared that regardless of the zombies that appeared, he would eliminate them. He gazed into the camera and assured Euler not to fret. He would return her father safely. She appeared apprehensive and inquired if he could truly accomplish it. The elderly man replied that, for the moment, their only option was to observe and determine how long he maintained that confidence. Wearing a headset, Zhang Heng followed the directions. The elderly man instructed him to take the eastern route. Regrettably, that path led to the mountain, devoid of cameras, necessitating caution. Zhang Heng snapped back, telling him to be quiet, asserting he could manage. He proceeded along the trail and shortly thereafter noticed a group of zombies approaching him. The beings shut. He smiled, declaring it was time to try out his friend's present. He released the iconic green crescent slash, slicing them in two. He yelled that he was now too powerful and feared no one. He then observed something unusual to the side. Another person had witnessed that unusual purple tornado. He wrapped up several more zombies and inquired whether anyone else in the room had witnessed it as well. The rain intensified, and a purple tornado began to develop in the east. The elderly man remarked that the camera couldn't capture it, but the sensors indicated wind speeds nearing level 6. It was too perilous to remain outdoors, so he had to hurry back to the house. Zhao Heng expressed his regrets to Euler, stating that he couldn't overcome the might of the gods. Old Man Zhang advised Euler to remain composed, reassuring her that her father would surely locate a safe place to take shelter. Zhao Heng arrived at the gate. Alarms erupted. The elderly man leaped, hurrying to discover what occurred. He instructed everyone to relax, stating he had merely returned with a zombie. Since it appeared Yubei requested him to bring one. Thrilled that the zombie remained alive, he instructed them to hold on and dashed away, claiming he'd return shortly. The elderly man, equally thrilled, remarked that it was still alive. Alive was a generous term for that creature. He complimented the large man, who became even more excited. He was always glad to witness their improved relationship. Meanwhile, Yobi was deep into his production stage. The boy had completed all the mechanics for the arm. The rain continued to pour until, at last, the sun emerged in this wretched apocalypse. The zombies went wild as usual upon seeing sunlight. They became so wild they began changing. Suddenly they changed to red, and started jumping onto rooftops. A small girl beamed, delighted by the sunny weather, until one of the larger figures approached and confronted her directly. Her father, hearing her scream, rushed over to find out what was going on. The entire family turned into a feast. The zombies had genuinely advanced, leaping and breaking into homes. No safe refuge remained in that structure. Our friends from school ran away in panic. One of them was on the verge of being captured, when a zombie was hit in the back of its neck. Then another received a blow to the head. The albino emerged. He produced the pill and glanced at his companions. They instantly identified Fon, the blonde who had contemplated consuming it. The focus moved to the street, where a horde of zombies dashed in formation. Ruashi was positioned atop a building, with her 2 zombies beside her. Zhou Bo remarked on how remarkably coordinated their movements were. Ruashi chuckled. She mentioned that she had been in distress for several days and inquired if they had located Jiebe. Wang Shang replied that he was hiding in a mountain house resembling a research facility, making it simple to infiltrate and eliminate him. Ruashi mentioned that it wouldn't be enjoyable. She wished for him to understand precisely who caused his demise. Prior to that, she aimed for him to sense despair enveloping him. Meanwhile, at the house, Zhao Hang and Yu was on the verge of leaving when an alarm sounded. Zhao Hang inquired about its nature. The elderly man quickly warned them against going outside. A significant event was approaching. Oddly, a group of zombies was assembling in the city. The strangest aspect was that they appeared to head directly towards them. Zhao Hang shook his head and inquired about the number. The elderly man replied with a minimum of 1,000. The large man scowled, questioning if they were the final humans nearby. The elderly man claimed he was unaware, but they ought to inform Jiebe. The large man dashed away and hit on the door, yelling to our son that more than 1,000 zombies were approaching. Our boy mentioned that the professor had informed him already. The big guy's expression brightened. Was he prepared to eliminate them all? Our boy replied that he was not prepared whatsoever. That erased the smile from his face. So how was he meant to confront these challenges? Jebe stated he had urged them to quickly learn how to manage scenarios like this. He still hadn't completed his research. If this individual was indeed Professor Zhang, they could work together to find a solution. The large man claimed that none of it was logical. Jebe remained silent and continued his tasks, prompting the large man to depart, murmuring that ultimately he had to depend solely on himself. He ascended a tower. One gazed downward, and his gut sank. The swarm was already at their threshold. He realized that even the lab's walls couldn't withstand a crowd of that magnitude. He dashed to the vehicle, insisting he couldn't allow them to crowd around it. The elderly man grew anxious, inquiring about his intentions. The large man instructed him to unlock the gate. He had a plan. If it failed, everyone should flee. Yao Yuer let out a scream. In the next moment, he was already outside. He rushed directly toward the zombies, drew his weapon and shot the laser, eliminating the initial group. He felt thrilled. There were so many that aiming was unnecessary. He continued firing, shattering them from afar. Rujiaxi observed everything. That troublesome girl was a villain. She posed a threat. Wang Shang also stood atop the tower, awed by the weapon wielded by Zhao Heng. Rujiaxi was focused on a single matter, the duration of their existence. Zhao Heng continued shooting, repeatedly exploding zombies. The issue was that, regardless of how many he eliminated, the horde continued to persist. Then a fireball struck into the earth directly beneath the vehicle's tire. The old man and Your Honor yelled. The vehicle almost overturned. Zhao Heng needed to rush out the door, and there, directly before him, stood the fire zombie. He snapped, enraged that this annoying girl had executed such a sly ambush. He shot at her, yelling that he no longer feared. She evaded, and launched another fireball. Zhao Heng also evaded, maneuvering in midair. Matrix shifted and retaliated. The creature escaped. He labeled her a coward and urged her to return. Yet now he found himself encircled. He discharged several additional rounds. Grandpa Zhang shouted for him to come back right away. There was no chance he would escape unscathed. Zhao Heng sprinted, understanding he had fallen directly into a snare. Then Wang Shang arrived. From above, there was no escape. However, the large man was quick, evading once more. He landed on his side, and almost made a hit. He pulled out the knife and nearly achieved a slash as well. Impressive. He confronted Wang Shang directly. Wang Shang was surprised that this large individual appeared more nimble than Yi Bei. He aimed his weapon and instructed Zhao Heng to expire. However, the being fled away. Wow, this large bald man caused everyone to run. Ruoshi observed from the top of the tower. Here she comes with mischief in mind. Next, the zombies that had been stationary suddenly began running toward him. Zhao Heng stood still, puzzled by their rapid change. Yet, he still possessed the sword crafted by Yi Bei, and he unleashed the green crescent cut, yet they were approaching too quickly. He was unable to eliminate them quickly, so he attempted to flee. What is this? Zombies were being hurled at him. The unfortunate fellow was baffled by the objects falling from the sky, and they continually landed directly next to him. Clearly, it was Wang Shang honing his skills in throwing zombies. He took another one and threw it towards Zhao Heng. Zhao Heng needed to use a bullet to detonate it in midair. He continued to run, but now he was outright pleading for rescue. Another hurled zombie crashed down, ensnaring his leg in a lethal grip. It lunged for a bite, but Zhao Heng fortunately slashed it away. However, he struck the ground forcefully. No time to rise. His sole opportunity was to make a hit. Suddenly, a green light appeared. A surge of energy flowed through all ahead of him. Another cannon shot whistled by. Wang Shang and the other person gazed, attempting to understand what was taking place. In the distance, Beyond the swarm of zombies, beams of light ascended into the air. Another wave hit, followed by a colossal strike reminiscent of something from Transformers. What's happening? Our boy transformed into Optimus Prime. The kid had crafted claws and legs, fully armed. Wang Shang beamed, exclaiming that he had finally come. The elderly man praised the boy, declaring him incredible. Even the large man was taken aback by the impressive armor the child had constructed in recent days. However, Yebe urged him to concentrate. The foe was near. He instructed him to return and eliminate the zombies on the right side. He would manage the left until the primary creatures arrived. Wang Shang asserted that, with him present, victory was guaranteed. He promptly resumed his assault. Yebe surveyed the area and activated a booster. The child soared upward into the sky. He activated his enormous Optimus Prime hand and obliterated everything around him, gaining immense strength. The large man could only whisper that he had become a bit too powerful. However, after eliminating so many zombies, they would have ample pearls for crafting additional weapons. Energized, he returned to complete even more tasks. That cursed Ruashi continued to observe from a distance. Wang Shang, feeling anxious, stated that with this newfound power, they couldn't approach at all. She broke. That cursed boy believed he was secure merely due to some armor. She wouldn't allow that to pass. A different blow struck down, defeating additional zombies. A laser shot ahead. The elderly man stared at the screen, astonished. He remarked that the boy's exoskeleton was an anomaly for this time period. He couldn't fathom how Yebe had transformed the discarded metal into such a creation. At that moment, Yebe disclosed the reality. The metal originated from within the zombies' skulls. The old man stood still, shocked. Now, it was clear why Yebe had concealed it for such a time. He left, claiming he intended to experiment with the zombie they had brought in and examine it. Outdoors, Wang Shang resumed commanding the zombies once more, dispatching them to swarm Yebe. The earth started shaking, and the large man remarked it resembled an earthquake. Yebe urged him to stop overthinking and continue fighting. Yebe then observed something unusual. The zombies leaped in his direction. As they approached, Ruashi tightened her grip, hand, and the beings burst apart directly in front of him. Yebe was completely unaware of the situation. Ruashi chuckled, remarking he would soon perish. She, continually unleashing waves of zombies that exploded right in his face. Yebe couldn't recall zombies self-destructing like this in his previous life. Wang Shang observed from the sidelines. Zhou Bo remarked that it resembled a battle between deities, and they couldn't intervene. He then disclosed that Ruashi had consumed 7 pearls to attain this state. Her form continuously melted and reformed, illustrating the depth of her animosity toward Yebe. Zhou Bo pondered whether consuming more pearls enhanced strength, as she had acquired powers instead of transforming into a monster. However, Wang Shang remarked that after witnessing her experiences, he had no desire to try that himself. Ruashi continued to send zombies to burst out in front of Yebe. He realized someone was manipulating them by now. He pivoted, deflected a strike, and shot a projectile at the tower. The boy's aim was spot on, forcing Ruashi to evade. Wang Shang shouted her name, and in her haste, she nearly stumbled. Yet she succeeded in floating. Then she halted. Yebe stood directly in front of her, holding Optimus Prime's enormous hand. He shot once more, and she pulled zombies up as barriers. She summoned a complete barrier of creatures, yet they were on the verge of being swept away. She continued to direct them. He simply jumped over the chaos and entered with a powerful punch. She hardly moved to the side. Yebe extended his massive hand once more. She joined the 1v1 and activated hers as well. But wow, she got hit directly in the mouth. The unfortunate girl was propelled a great distance. Prior to her being able, he pinned her to the ground in reaction. Optimus Prime triumphed. Waifu nil. Yebe remarked that if she had survived those shots, she must have ingested the pearls. He inquired about the quantity she'd consumed. She remained silent, simply attempted to unleash the energy in her hand. Next arrived the thundering strike. It's best if you avoid any further attempts, warrior. She cried out in pain. He informed her that in their previous existence, she had caused him to lose an arm as well, and today she would face the consequences. Then he noticed a sound nearby. Wangxing burst in, frantic, pleading for him to release her. Yebe simply opened his massive hand and shot. The creature evaded and began to circle him. He attempted to seize the opportunity and leaped in. Without hesitation, our boy struck Wangxing's arm while holding Ruashi's hand. He triggered it with the other laser and struck him directly in the chest. Tough break for the fool. He went soaring. Witnessing Wangxing down and Ruashi taken effortlessly, Jobo realized she stood no chance. Her only viable choice was to flee. Ruashi remained pinned beneath the enormous robot. Yebe remarked it was insane. She could genuinely be among the chosen ones, having ingested pearls while maintaining her human shape. Yet he was also aware of her potential danger. To prevent future issues, he decided to end her now. Right as he was about to smash, the zombies began changing her. Yebe was stunned. How did they achieve rank 1 so quickly? Yao Yu announced that an increasing number of zombies were encircling the lab. Zhou Hang maintained his position, yet a few had already breached the defenses and were scaling the walls. Ruashi began chuckling. She claimed they would all perish and turn into her undead servants. Weary of Yebe hurled her far from it. She collided with the zombies. He prepared the massive hand and released a dual laser. He obviously ran away, believing she was gone. But you know how tales unfold. She's likely still alive, isn't she? In the meantime, the large man was in a frenzy. His weapon was out of. With only the sword remaining, he found himself encircled from every direction. At that moment, a rank 1 zombie attacked him. He hardly raised the sword in time. He questioned whether this was a new ability user. He cut directly down the center, but rather than cutting clean, it merely left a scratch. He felt fear. He glanced back. Numerous creatures were changing. The whole base was encircled, and they continued to arrive. Zhou Hang struck at one creature's. He sprinted, clutching his chest, unaware of the creature he faced. The sword had ceased to be effective. Perhaps these were the rank 1 mutants Yebe referred to. Yebe repeatedly called out for Zhao, inquiring about his well-being. Simultaneously, several creatures leaped over the barrier and began approaching the research zone. Sang remained focused on his research, oblivious to the events unfolding outside. Sal attempted to flee but couldn't locate Yebe and was unsure how to re-enter the base. Suddenly, Optimus Prime appeared and seized the large individual. Sal was thrilled and inquired whether their son could fly now. Yebe replied it was merely a jump with some gliding. He then commanded him to eliminate the creatures advancing towards the lab. Eliminating these rank 1 creatures required multiple strikes, and he had to proceed with caution. They were significantly more nimble than in the past. The large man fell, worn out, claiming he could finally catch his breath. Yebe leaped to the top of the gate, prepared the Optimus hand, and began vaporizing everything around him. The issue was that as he cleared one side, the creatures surged in from the opposite. The large man, feeling drained, shouted to Yu that he needed a drink. Suddenly, he noticed a sound close by, and noticed a being approaching nearer. It was nearly upon him. As he seized the blade and plunged it into the chest, he forcefully struck the first to hit the ground and tore it apart. The boy continued, striking it once more. Yu arrived, stating she had brought the water he requested. She inquired about Zhuahang's condition, and as she approached, she remarked that this zombie was unlike the rest. Within its skull, he discovered a red pearl. In the meantime, Professor Zhang discovered what they had been discussing. Although the stone appeared unremarkable, a peculiar green glow emanated from within. The dilemma was whether humans mutated due to this metal or if the metal emerged as they transformed into zombies. He was eager to reveal all the mysteries surrounding that substance. Outside, our son was tidying up the area. He took one down, crushed 2 additional ones. A single motion of his hand, and he ultimately declared it was finished. He yelled for the big guy to gather the pearls, stating he had finished everything. Zhuahang gave a thumbs up, acknowledging his impressive efficiency. However, when the large fellow noticed the heap of slain monsters, he grumbled that collecting them all would take ages. Turning to Yebe, he proposed that if Yebe assisted him, he would also want a mecha. Our boy replied he would consider it later. For now, he needed rest. The elderly man approached then. He stated it was time for Yebe to disclose all the mysteries surrounding that peculiar pearl. Outside, the large man began to dig. Numerous creatures were present, and the hardest part was facing it alone. Back at the base, Grandpa Zhang was intrigued by the unusual metal. Yebe clarified that the pearl begins to develop in the brain the moment an individual turns into a zombie. The longer it remains in light, the more energy it accumulates. It seemed as though the zombies were capable of a form of photosynthesis. The elderly man remarked that it was fascinating, yet after his analysis, he hadn't discovered anything aligning with Yebe's account. However, he did observe that the object contained active metal molecules that responded to light and heat. It was also remarkably durable, showing a strong affinity for both metal and blood. Yebe verified its unique attraction to human blood. This is the reason the virus disseminates more rapidly in humans compared to other species, and the absorption of light causes continuous mutations over time. The elderly man remarked that this clarified why, during daylight, zombies would merely remain in the street gazing at the sun. However, today they had been acting wildly. Yebe mentioned that it was due to an ability user manipulating them. The elderly man inquired whether he was referring to the spiked beast or the one that wielded fire and hurled flames. Yebe mentioned that the two were typical mutants, while the one commanding the zombies was a superior mutant from his class called Ru Oxy. The elderly man continued to struggle with understanding how this object could bring about such significant transformations in the human body. Yebe mentioned that they had been studying it for some time, and the only certainty was that consuming the item would lead to mutation. Ability users had consistently posed a danger, necessitating their elimination upon discovery. The elderly man felt inundated by the item, the mutations, and the current zombie rankings. He informed our protagonist that his school certainly hadn't covered any of this, prompting Yebe to suggest that he might share the information later, though it would be more beneficial for the old man to uncover the truth through his own investigations. The elderly man expressed his desire to view the new weapons created by Yebe. Yebe, exhausted, agreed as long as the Mega remained intact since he planned to use it again. The old man departed, thrilled. Yebe mentioned he would sleep, feeling utterly fatigued. Yura merely observed. She had intended to seek our boy's assistance in saving her father today, but she realized he had been fighting all day and must be worn out. Thus, she spread a tiny blanket atop him and sat next to him, reflecting on how deeply she missed her father. The sun had begun to set. Outside, the large man was so exhausted he could barely move. He imagined how incredible it would be to possess a tool that could effortlessly retrieve those pearls. Unbeknownst to him, a creature observed him closely. It was Zhubo. She believed it was finished after thousands of zombies perished in just one day. Assuming Wang Shang and Ru Che had also fallen, she contemplated surrendering, yet understood they would eliminate her without a second thought. She recognized herself as a monster. Even more troubling, these new rank 2 zombies appeared to target beings like her. She exhausted her remaining strength, conjuring fire to obliterate them completely. However, if additional ones appeared or began to mutate, it wouldn't be so simple for her. The sole solution she envisioned was to consume more pearls and gain strength. Then she stood still. Perched in a tree was the albino, that cursed off-Fong simply gazing at her. She was ready to talk, but he reached out a hand then, darted off in a different direction. He fled. For a moment, it seemed she might pursue him. At the base, Yura was sleeping. The large man rested next to her, exhausted from carrying everything back. During the night's quiet hours, Yura awakened and noticed Yuba was already. As usual, the apocalyptic mechanic was in the shop. Torch held low, turned back. At it, dawn arrived, and we found ourselves at that convenience store once again. Yura's father moved closer. He entered searching for her, but the area was in ruins. He discovered a note she had written on a table. She had left to search him. Now he was completely unaware of her location. Outside, zombies occupied the space. As always, they remained motionless, glistening eyes, gazing at the sun. Returning to the base, a spiky Batmobile was created. Armored, for massive tires, the man preparing to drive it had a broad smile on his face. Yubao was truly extraordinary. The boy constructed an entire car overnight. The large man, intrigued, inquired if it was crafted from unique materials and if it could morph into a mecha. Yubao replied that it was merely an ordinary car, though he had utilized 2,000 pearls and zombie pearls. The large man claimed it fit him flawlessly and inquired about when they could test. He was eager to get out there and locate Yubao's father. However, Yubao instructed them to hold on. This time, she insisted on going as well. Yubao refused. The area was swarming with rank 1 zombies. She argued that she had obeyed every command until now, but this time, she had to search for her father on her own. Yubao urged her to cease her stubbornness, or he would request the professor to confine her in the lab. Yubao burst into tears, shouting for her dad. The large man barked at Yubao. Why did he upset her? Professor Zhang showed up and advised her to relax. He revealed a newly repaired drone to her, his initial creation utilizing that uncommon material. It had the capacity to hold significantly more energy, endure longer, and enhance communication and stability. She could remain secure at the base while continuing to assist in the search for her father. Yubao complimented him, noting he quickly mastered the use of the item. The elderly man chuckled, claiming he wasn't an actual professor, yet he had still succeeded in creating something akin to this. Yubao completed the car preparations and informed the large man that it was time to leave. Zhao Hang was nearly buzzing with excitement as he started the rhino. Yubao warned them to exercise caution. The large man hit the gas, and the Batmobile surged out of the base, tearing through the woods. He was in disbelief. Every ground resembled pavement. Next, they took to the road, navigating past deserted vehicles. His new vehicle rendered the others insignificant. Eventually, Yubao mentioned they had seen her father nearby in this vicinity. They ventured further into the city, yet the large man scowled. Felt strange. No zombies. Then one of them grinned. Zombies filled the rooftops. In an instant, they attacked the car, forging the metal. Large figures crashed and scratched, struggling to pry it open, but it wouldn't budge. One leaned against the windshield while the large man shouted at it to move out of his line of sight. He looked at Yubao. Were there any weapons in the car? Yubao mentioned that gunpowder was ineffective, so he had a superior option ready. The moment he pushed a button, the entire vehicle illuminated with a green electric glow. Lightning struck and impacted the zombies, and they vanished instantly. I gazed, equally shocked as the large man, Zhao with his mouth agape. The main character remarked that with so many rank 1 zombies present, survival was impossible. They had to alter their course. They chose a different path, yet on a building's peak someone observed. The individual grinned. This seemed intriguing. They arrived at what appeared to be a shopping center. The large man mentioned that this was the location where they'd spotted her father on the cameras. Our son instructed them to deploy the drone and had Air commence the search. She piloted the drone, inspecting space after space. The large man inquired about what they were meant to do in the interim. Our son mentioned that he could explore the lower floors if he wished. As for him, he was heading back to sleep. The large man expressed that he felt more secure inside the vehicle. They continued down the road when Air remarked that she spotted zombies approaching them. They might as well keep driving around. The large man recoiled briefly, then smiled, eager to try out the new weapons. He pressed a button. Spikes erupted from the tires. He accelerated directly towards the beings and cut through all. A different button activated a laser and wiped out half the street. Air warned him to exercise caution. Her father might be in one of those homes. He pressed the next button, wishing it wouldn't cause too much damage. A meat grinder appeared before the vehicle. He dashed past the initial creatures, and the system notified him he had acquired another pearl. The big guy's aspiration of owning a collection tool was realized. He bent down to embrace Yubei. The vehicle began to swerve. Air gazed, puzzled. Inside, the large man had already hit his head 5 times. Yu then let out a scream. She spotted her father's car approximately 500 meters away and transmitted the images. Zhao Hang reassured her not to fret. They would locate her father. However, the vehicle was damaged, the windshield shattered. She felt a surge of panic, fearing something occurred while he was out. Yu suggested she utilize the drone to check for any messages he might have left. He was likely nearby. Yu remained agitated, continuously inquiring about his whereabouts. Then she abruptly left, slumped and crashed face-first onto the keyboard. The elderly man hurried to her, confused about what was occurring. After a while, Zhao Hang stopped the car. Yu inquired about Yu's condition. The professor replied that she had collapsed, and her health appeared to be deteriorating. Her concentration on locating her father caused her to neglect her medication. Fortunately, he had some reserves. However, managing this condition wasn't his expertise, and securing a doctor in the apocalypse would prove even more challenging. He instructed Yu to head to the hospital while he tried his utmost to keep her safe. At that moment, the large man returned. He had discovered no messages or details in the vehicle. Curiously, her father had abandoned a significant amount of supplies. After the accident, he must have fled in a state of panic. The large man discovered something additional: unmarked black boxes containing peculiar pills without any logos or labels. The main character mentioned they could be medication. They planned to return to Zhang for verification. They started the vehicle and drove towards the hospital. The professor mentioned he would remain with Yu for the time being, which meant he couldn't assist with the drones. In the car, the large man appeared devastated upon discovering Yu had leukemia. It became clear to him why Yu had prevented her from joining them. He began discussing the search for medication, but Yu interrupted, instructing him to be quiet and drive to the hospital. Yu realized that in 2 years, the city's resources would deplete, transforming the area into a desolate wasteland. Even more concerning, the decline was occurring more rapidly than he had anticipated. Perhaps, ultimately, he would be powerless to effect any change. It might be wiser to consider an alternative rather than allowing her to exist in this bleak reality. The setting changed. A liquid was injected into Zobo's arm. It instantly started to regenerate. She looked on, bewildered by how that could happen. Her flames had come back. The woman with blonde hair in the hat remarked on how impressive her fire abilities were. Zobo expressed gratitude and inquired about his organization. The blonde extended his arms and stated they focused on assembling individuals with talents. Their aim was to establish a utopia for the selected in this realm. Zobo, perplexed, inquired if the blonde was a user too. He agreed, mentioning that many others resembled him. She inquired whether it was feasible to sustain a human-like appearance similar to his. He agreed, stating that his team possessed the answer. They could thrive joyfully and harmoniously in this new world. In the meantime, outside the hospital, the large man was positioned at the entrance. Before him, graffiti cautioned that this area was off-limits and to keep away. He informed our boy that the location was taken. So what would they do? Yebe responded in Optimus Prime mode that given its strategic significance, this was anticipated. He then disregarded the warning and forcefully made his entrance. The large man found it odd how silent everything seemed. He continually received warnings urging them to retreat or face death. Yebe instructed them to explore various locations while maintaining communication via the headphones. As they moved, the large man expressed that this was the second place he despised the most globally. Despite his aversion to disinfectant scent, he began to inhale the air nonetheless. During this apocalypse, disinfectant was not being used, right? Yet the oddest part was he sensed sweet fruit. Abruptly, he lost consciousness and fell. Yebe quickly shouted, inquiring about the situation. Silence. Our boy squinted, filled with suspicion. Suddenly, something began to drip from the ceiling. Yebe picked up the aroma and quickly suspected poison. However, Optimus Prime was ready. He donned the mask, triggered his enormous hand, and destroyed the duct. He cautioned the large man that it was a setup and urged him to leave. Then someone showed up right next. Him. Our son acted swiftly. He threw a punch at the doctor, but halted just before making contact with her. She patted the robot and remarked his mecha was truly cool. She then mentioned it must have been crafted with zombie pearls, and she wished to meet the creator of it. Yebe questioned whether she possessed abilities and inquired about her identity. The girl identified herself as Tang Tang, claiming to be a kind genius doctor. Yebe inquired about the poison and if she had eaten any pearls. She claimed she unleashed it to numb intruders, yet she was intrigued by this pearl-consuming matter. Yebe instructed her to dismiss that and inquired if she was by herself. She claimed to be the sole princess of that castle and inquired if the Demon King had come to seize her. Yebe, weary, inquired if she feared death at all. The wild girl claimed that death was as delightful as sweets, and if she perished for her greatest passion, she would feel no remorse. Our boy questioned whether she was mad. He inquired about her definition of genius and her area of expertise. She claimed to be a doctor focused on viruses. Now our boy was intrigued. He quickly inquired about what she found out regarding the pearls and if she utilized them to create those toxins. However, she was not keen on being questioned. She informed him that he was bothersome. He continued to inquire but never provided any responses. Thus, if he sought answers, he needed to reveal who made that mecha. The boy paused before mentioning a research institute, offering to take her there if she wished. Her face brightened, but she cautioned him that she had one more request, which he needed to consent to. The setting changed to a barren road. A vehicle stationed in an isolated area. Yao Hang shouted for Hakan, inquiring about her whereabouts. The girl replied that she despised those who failed to keep their promises and inquired if a person named Xiaoqi was present. The motorcyclist, clearly Xiaoqi, mentioned that they would return and get married after completing the mission. Someone reminded them to cease their flirting during the task. A truck began to come closer. The trio eagerly exclaimed that, just as Xiao had indicated, they would stick to the plan. The truck drove past the car, and they prepared for the signal. However, the large man inquired, Xiaoqi, where on earth was the signal? Unfortunate Hakan had been struck by the truck. At the same time, Xiaoqi attempted to flee, claiming things were becoming strange. A different vehicle arrived behind the big guys. At that moment, he understood their scheme had been uncovered. The large man startled awake. It was merely a dream. He had lost consciousness due to the girl's poison. The doctor faced him with a self-satisfied expression, and Yebe inquired if he had rested adequately. He blinked in confusion as the wild girl laughed. She informed him that she had developed a unique toxin that rendered individuals unconscious for a full 3 hours. The intriguing aspect, she added, was that without the antidote she provided, his body would have transformed into a pool of blood. Yebe instructed them to cease their conversation and begin loading the items into the vehicle. Tang Tang kindly requested Zhao Hang's assistance, but he was slow to respond. Her expression shifted instantly as she warned him to pay attention or risk finding himself in one of those jars. The unfortunate fellow seized the jars and started moving. She expressed gratitude, labeling them true gentlemen. In the meantime, Yebe sought to uncover her true identity. He recalled that intoxicating poison from his previous life. In the future, this kind of fearsome gas would become a primary method for combating zombies. If this girl was among the pioneers of such an invention, she was definitely valuable to the team and deserving of support in its development. At the very least, he couldn't allow someone of her caliber to end up with another gang. Shortly after, everything was packed up. The vehicle contained far more than it appeared capable of holding. She remarked on its cuteness, claiming it resembled something crafted from pearls. Ideal for a princess like her. The large man inquired of Yebe whether it was truly acceptable to have someone so eccentric along for the ride. Yebe mentioned they required her research on the medications and her assistance for the journey. Suddenly, he heard a sound. A changed being emerged atop a skyscraper. A lion resembling a chimera with numerous eyes. Everyone stood still. Upon noticing the trio, it began to drool. It let out a roar, prompting the big guy to question whether it was another ability user or a zombie. Yebe instructed them to cease wasting time outside and enter the vehicle. The being jumped. Yebe powered up Optimus Prime and delivered a strong blow to its arm, sending it plummeting to the earth. Meanwhile, the large man began the vehicle. Yebai restrained the creature using his arms. He instructed him to bring the doctor to the base as he dealt with the monster. He delivered a blow to the back of its neck, then strike it with another laser. Inside the vehicle, the large man pondered why this one was significantly larger than the rest. Tang Tang mentioned that this large dog had been roaming around the hospital for quite some time, which deterred anyone from approaching. Zhao Hang questioned why she hadn't brought up a creature like that. She appeared truly perplexed and responded that, given their origins from outside, she thought it had already been addressed. Leaning closer, she remarked that with their sophisticated gear, it should pose no issue. After all, they were the final chance for humanity's survival. The large man told her to quit with the jokes, yet she maintained she wasn't being dishonest. She had studied the zombie virus, and those who remained unchanged were undoubtedly the selected individuals. Yebai continued battling outside, delivering another blow. The timing still didn't align with his previous life. These mutants were not simply animals that evolved due to the zombie virus. They resulted from a combination of the virus and sophisticated engineering, a phenomenon that shouldn't exist at this time. The being shot a beam and Yebai narrowly evaded. He grinned. He was beginning to grasp what was going on. He shot once more with Optimus Prime, targeting its neck. The projectile ricocheted and struck the building. Yebai understood the creature could still counter his strikes. The creature lunged and slashed at him with its talons, but he dodged to the side. It seized one of the bosses and began coiling around it. Yebai urged her to cease being so disobedient and ripped 2 sections from her back. The monstrous beast fell. Fatigued, she shot another beam, yet Yebai defended against it with his hand. He claimed her actions were pointless. Now it was his turn. He propelled himself ahead with the robot. He struck her with a single blow. He struck her squarely on the head and began slamming her into the ground. The boy was ruthless, ultimately defeating the monster. He discovered a large pearl among the remains. He flipped it in his hand and remarked that after he transplanted something similar, everything would become significantly simpler. At the same time, the blond man atop the building observed and grumbled that this would truly cause him a significant headache. Yebai shouted to the large man, inquiring if they could hear him. Sadly, they had moved too far and the connection had failed. It's time to return. Thus, he began flying with the Optimus. As he walked by the buildings, he looked to the side and noticed the blond guy. The blonde waved and expressed it was nice to meet him. Dude, Yebai instantly extended his hand and detonated him directly in front of himself. The blonde showed up on a different building and inquired if Yebai held any biases against ability users. Without hesitation, Yebai sent another blast his direction. However, the blonde stated he had no interest in fighting. He appeared on the robot's arm and stated he was merely there to convey a message and wouldn't take much time. Yebai then crushed him with his hand. The blonde mentioned that if Yebai wished to converse in that stance, he was okay with it. He introduced himself as Song Bin and asked Yebai to come see him in the northern district. Yebai continued to overpower him as the doctor expressed interest in contacting the medical girl. However, when Yebai gazed at the guy had vanished. He possessed some form of body replacement skill. Not overly dangerous, but certainly a hassle to contend with. The oddest aspect was that the cursed secret organization was already taking shape. Yebai wished to avoid thinking about it, yet he needed to brace for the worst. Even more absurd, this covert group was called Secret Organization. Not particularly imaginative. Yet, Yebai understood that in 50 years they would dominate most resources and the awakened. They aimed to establish a world ruled by ability users. That mutated creature was likely their creation. They had probably been observing him for some time. It didn't add up for them to already be present, which implied they likely had a person from the future as well. The Batmobile reached the base. Tang Tang mentioned it was quite an ordinary location for developing that mecha vehicle. The large man noted she was brave to come to an unfamiliar place. She replied that she relied on her instincts. Then, she urged Zhao Hang to quickly retrieve the experiments, stating she was doing it for Yebai. The elderly man showed up and remarked that it appeared they had indeed found a doctor. Tang approached directly and inquired whether he was the professor responsible for developing the mecha and the vehicle. Before he could respond, she stated she already recognized him and had come solely to listen. The doctor remarked on his untidy attire, but noted he was unmistakably a mad scientist. Grandpa Zhang felt perplexed, questioning where Yebai had discovered this eccentric girl. However, he did recognize the name Professor Tang, aware she was a brilliant young mind with a PhD in virology. She expressed her gratitude, visibly flustered. Meanwhile, the old man pondered how someone like her had managed to thrive. She asked him to skip the small talk, stating she was present to investigate the pearls alongside him. He was taken aback that she had won and complimented her, remarking on how incredible it was that she had built both the mecha and the car. She referred to it as black gold and inquired if he had named it. Grandpa Zhang hesitated, uncertain whether to confess he hadn't designed any of it, particularly since she appeared to be less informed than he was, and he believed Yebai preferred it to remain confidential. He opened his arms and suggested they collaborate, mentioning he had made some recent findings. However, she first needed to assist him with another task. The setting changed to the medical room, with Yebai resting in bed. After some time, Tang emerged, and the professor inquired about her well-being. Tang removed her mask and inquired whether Yebai was his granddaughter. The elderly man replied not precisely, but he regarded her in that way. Tang made a hand signal and the man inquired whether that indicated the girl was fine. Tang replied negatively. The elderly man inquired if that indicated she had 3 years remaining. Tang clarified that she actually had 3 months. She had encountered numerous individuals with the same condition and couldn't comprehend how the girl was still living. She refused to undergo any treatment in this condition, and the most troubling aspect was that there wasn't much they could do. Tang inquired whether she was implying that he should simply accept the girl's impending death. Tang suggested that they might utilize it. After some time, you started to awaken. She listened as the elderly man outside inquired whether they were truly going to provide her that medicine. Tang mentioned it wasn't precisely that. She was considering utilizing the material to develop a novel type of medication. In certain experiments, she observed that the material appeared to release energy capable of rejuvenating nearby cells. The elderly man explained that was the reason some individuals experienced that change. She questioned what kind of fool would partake in it. He replied that he had witnessed 2 people use it and gain immense strength. Tang paused briefly before stating that, apart from certain death, she couldn't envision any other outcomes. She urged him to concentrate on the actual issue, creating a remedy from the substance to assist the girl in need. Time was limited, and they needed to ensure she wouldn't transform into a monster as well. Zhao Heng finally positioned the last item on the shelf. Gazing at it, he struggled to understand why she cherished these things so deeply. Tang entered and expressed her gratitude to him, immediately inquiring if Yu Warren's condition could be treated. She replied that with the right approach it might be possible. He mentioned he would check on Yu Bei, but she assured him it wasn't necessary. He appeared to be managing well. As he prepared to leave, she brought up the search for Yu Warren's father. He confirmed they were actively looking. Tang insisted they locate him swiftly, as he could assist with her treatment. In the city, Yu Bei was atop a building alongside a massive robot. The sun shone brightly, and he still had not located Yu Warren's father. He chose to soar and search for water, until he noticed a shopping mall and went inside. He broke through the glass, and found themselves facing a pool. There was water indeed, but it was not suitable for drinking. Suddenly, he heard an unusual noise and approached it. Something darted by him. He spun the robot around, and shot a laser. Suddenly, the creature crashed through the wall and pounced towards him. It was enormous. Fortunately, the robotic arms were enormous. Yu Bei gazed at the new creature and lifted his hand to shoot once more. Yet the beast pushed him aside. He crashed against the wall. He swore at the creature and shot again. Yet it evaded effortlessly and approached him from the side. Yu Bei delivered a punch, but it was too quick and vanished once more. Struck a blow, yet Yu Bei seized control of, pulled it to the side and crashed it down. He turned on the laser struck the monster directly in the neck, causing it to collapse. off and a woman stepped out from it. These beings were firing now. Yubei stood still, stunned. In the meantime, on the street, the large man looked for Yubei, only locating him when the drone powered on. It existed. Yubei inquired whether they remained outside. He advised her to relax and allow them to manage the search. She mentioned she struggled to sleep and felt improved collaborating with them. He advised her it was fine but not to overdo it. Difficult. She powered up the drone and continued searching. Before long, she noticed something unusual, and the large man inquired about what it was. Yubei reported that a strange group of zombies was moving towards the construction site. They questioned whether any survivors could be present. She noticed a girl resting atop a container. The large man peered into the camera and claimed he knew her. Yubei inquired how. He mentioned that she had been taken by that man previously, but she managed to escape, and they never encountered her again. Yubei mentioned they needed to assist her. The large man engaged the vehicle's claws. Clearly, he fought through the zombies, slicing them. The girl atop the container appeared perplexed. Yubei advised her to be patient and seized the opportunity to leap into the car. Yubei Hang continued to destroy everything in his. He drove up near and yelled for the girl to hop in. She leaped into the rear. Yubei announced that it was time to leave. The girl entered cautiously, inquiring about their identities. The large man smiled and announced they were the rescue team. In the meantime, elsewhere, on the side, Yubei endured his usual punishment, crashing into the wall once more. And the creature lunged in for the final strike. Yubei shielded his face, aware he couldn't bear to see it. The issue was that his face cover had been compromised in the last battle, rendering it unusable once more. The creature struck with an attack that almost grazed him. He shot another laser, but that thing was just too quick. Once more, its tail struck him. He plunged into the pool like an fool and understood he had been negligent. He submerged beneath the water as the creature prepared for another attack. At that moment, he was immobile. Spikes started to emerge from the pool, and he questioned whether he would meet his end there. Suddenly, a light illuminated, and the beast received a blow to the eye. Dude, it was the large figure in the Batmobile, stating that the Doomsday Rescue crew had come. The creature paused, bewildered, then chose to flee. However, Yubei's enormous hand shot out and seized its tail, questioning where it believed it was going, pulled it back into the water, delivered a blow to it, and instructed the large man that if the beast began to gaze at him, simply fire the laser at it. The large man claimed he comprehended. Before the creature had a chance to respond, Yubei shot a laser into its abdomen. The unfortunate creature fell, quaking. He seized its head and insisted to understand what this mutant was doing there. Did the organization send her to assassinate him? The girl merely gazed. He instructed her to open her mouth, or he'd smash her head. She responded only after he brought up the secret organization. Lena, feeling hopeless, expressed her refusal to return, while the large man questioned how this girl had transformed into a monster as well. In that instant, the creature identified the girl inside the vehicle and began referring to her as Lena. Yubei instructed her to remain motionless, threatening to end her life. Lena exited the vehicle and inquired if the being was Annie. Under Yubei's touch, the creature continued to call for her. The large man suggested to Yubei that she might be another individual altered by the black substance. Lena approached her sister and inquired how she had found herself in this situation. The girl claimed that an organization had conducted experiments on her. She struggled to articulate the situation she was in. Yubei instructed Lena to leave, claiming he would put an end to her pain. Lena pleaded with him to spare her life. She remained his sister, even transformed. Yura positioned himself before Yubei and requested that he pause. Yubei cautioned her to move aside, or he would destroy that drone. Yubei implored that they had only just come together, and he couldn't end her life. However, Yubei contended that anyone who underwent transformation possessed a highly unstable mindset, making it too risky to spare her. Nevertheless, Lena remained still, simply weeping alongside her sister. Yorb pleaded with Yorb to allow them to converse and understand what occurred. Yorb reminded her that this being had almost taken his life, and he wouldn't allow her to escape unscathed. The large man proposed that they express gratitude to Yorb, as they wouldn't have made it on time without her. With that, Yorb withdrew. He let the creature go and departed, referring to them as a group of fools. The creature rose and inquired if they belonged to the secret organization. Yorb replied no, stating they were merely passing through the city in search of survivors. Annie revealed that following the transformation, she had successfully fled. Yet the organization continued to dispatch enormous dogs to track her in this location. Yorb inquired about her reasons for attacking him. Annie replied that fear made her believe he was affiliated with the organization. She approached Lena, expressing relief that she was fine and assuring her that she had no plans to harm anyone present. Yorb appeared relieved and proposed that Annie join them. They were researching zombies close by and she might assist. Lena inquired whether they could truly be involved in that. Yorb responded that it would be a joy to assist others. The sole issue was that the monster couldn't fit in the car. Annie promised Lena she would accompany her anywhere. The large man questioned Ye about her certainty in bringing such a monster back home. Ye responded that they were merely two sisters in peril, and it was everyone's duty to assist them. Yorb entered the vehicle and took a seat. Noticing this, the large man stated that since Yorb wasn't objecting, it was time to return. Thus, with the vehicle, the drone, and the beast, they departed. The large individual was astonished that the creature could move as swiftly as they did. Eventually, they returned to the base after some time. The doctor and Tang stood still upon seeing the creature, and promptly insisted on understanding what was happening. Lena shared her name and mentioned residing in the east.